Chapter 2 pretty much ends up with her blade to his balls, right? She's about to cut his ball sack off. Is that a cliffhanger or a nut hanger?
Alert, we're going to spoil things. Please don't watch this if you're planning on reading the book and you haven't read it yet, because there's just no way of doing this without spoiling it.
Welcome back to Book Dust Media. My name is Alex, joined as always by my lovely and beautiful wife,
Aww,
Bethany.
That's so nice. Thank you. My handsome husband.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So we did start reading Fourth Wing. We read chapter 1 through chapter 3. We finally hit dragons. Took 3 chapters, but we are into the dragons. I'm excited about the dragons. I'm hoping moving forward there's going to be more dragons than there is romance, but I don't know. If I'm wrong, let me know. But no, don't let me know because I'll probably quit.
Oh!
No, I'm dedicated to this book. I'm dedicated. But we're going to do a little review, what we think of the book thus far. Bethany, do you want to start with chapter 1?
Chapter 1 was okay for the first chapter of any book. I usually have noticed that with fantasy books, it's like world building for the first
Couple chapters?
100 pages. Depending on how big the world is, probably it could be shorter. This does not seem like it's world building for the first 100 pages. I did like how when they got into the second chapter, they were doing the world building. I appreciated how it was kind of mixed in with what she was doing in the second chapter.
Yeah.
But the first one was good.
The first chapter, what I liked about the book, it was super fast paced. It jumped right into it. Pretty much from the get-go, there wasn't any wasted time, I felt like, in the book. Like, from the get-go, it starts at the school that is called, I'm totally going to butcher the name,
Basagath?
We're going to call it Basagath.
I don't think I'm saying that right.
Didn't we just looked up how to pronounce it, but Basagath, let's call it that. It did remind me of Hogwarts from Harry Potter. That's what I envisioned in my head in the beginning of this. So they start out starts off with the main character, Violet, going into her mother's office with her sister. Her sister is already a dragon rider.
Yes.
3 years in, I believe. 3rd year.
I think so.
And the mom she's a general, yes. The mom is the general. They're getting ready to go start the training for dragon riders. Violet is. Even though she wanted, and her dad raised her to be a scribe, right? She's not really cut out to be a rider. But her mom doesn't care. She's pushing her to be a rider. So that's pretty much the first chapter. Chapter 2 starts off the beginning of her waiting in line to get up to...
she's waiting in line to get through basically like the first trial to get into where the school is. That's kind of how they did their world building, where she's talking to herself, reminding herself about the world, which I thought was an interesting way of getting through the world building while she's going through like the first the first trial, the first obstacle.
She's on. It seems like she's on a little bridge, right? It's raining. It's super slippery. And they do the world building while she's in the middle of doing the first, let's just call it the first task. And that was interesting how they described the world as she's doing on her little mission here, and kind of going back and forth from her mission to the world building.
To her 2 different size shoes.
Oh yeah. You have to read the book to know what we're talking about on the 2 different shoes. I'm not going to spoil that one.
Oh, okay.
It is funny, but isn't it chapter 1 where there's 2 other students talking to her?
Yeah, because chapter 2 is she put on the other shoe and she's going through that first trial. That whole piece of time frame is the second chapter.
Yeah.
And then once she gets to the other side, you're going into the third chapter. She's up to the wall. She is getting ready to walk across this wall, almost like a small... It's not really a bridge, though. It's a wall.
On top of the wall.
At the top of the wall, going across to where the Rider's Quadrant is. And she's like towards the beginning of people. I want to say that there's somebody that she knows that walks in front of her, and then there's another person behind her, but she's towards the beginning of this giant group of people that are trying out to get into the Writer's Quadrant. As she's walking across, it starts raining, the winds are blowing, the person that she sees in front of her ends up not making it.
Yeah, he was the super cocky one too, right? Wasn't he the
No,
arrogant one?
No, that guy
That's
is
another guy that
behind
dies.
her.
Oh, okay.
But the person in front of her was one of the nice people that she was talking to. Her sister had warned her, don't make friends, but it's somebody that she kind of made
Friends with. Yeah.
friends with. The parents are crying and hugging him before he goes across. And with rain hitting them, what sounds like almost hurricane winds blowing across the top of the wall, he slips and doesn't make it. And so when it's her turn and she's going across, then the arrogant, not very nice guy is coming behind her. He takes out a whole other person.
Yeah, he kills someone else and goes after her.
Which is, I want like a parallel wall that's running, I want to say. And then he comes back and then he goes behind her and is getting ready to take her out while she is talking to herself, telling herself all the facts that she knows, which is the world building.
Yeah.
All the facts that she has really just memorized as a scribe because she was originally wanting to be a scribe. And her dad was a scribe. So she's telling herself all these things. The guy's coming in behind her, trying to take her out, all the way across almost to the very edge of it. And the guy was following her, which I am forgetting what his name is. And I feel like he's going to be a character that's definitely going to come back up again.
Yeah, because, okay, so this guy
Jack
has it out for her. He wants to kill her. I think a lot of people have. Yeah, a lot of people have it out for Violet because of her mom is being the general. So she's a target. She already has a target on her back. This guy's coming up trying to kill her when they're almost. Violet's about to cross into the quadrant, right? No.
Yeah, she's at the end of the wall, about to cross into the quadrant. He's already taken somebody out, but the people that he's targeting are people that he thinks are going to be liabilities. Because once you become a writer, if there's somebody that's within your writing wing, basically your group of people,
you can't kill it.
Whoever's the weakest link is a liability, and then they're likely to get you killed. So he's somebody that's coming in as a first year, but taking out all these other people that he's deeming as liability. And if you take them out before you become a cadet, before you cross over, you can take them out. You can basically kill them. Nothing happens. You don't get in trouble for it. But once you've crossed over and they're a cadet and they're within your wing, they're not touchable in that way. They can still die from other things, but you as a cadet are not allowed to touch them, like kill them.
So at the end, when they're about to both cross over, he catches up with her. Chapter 2 pretty much ends up with Violet laying on her back, and she has her blade to his balls, right? She's about to cut his ball sack off. That's how chapter 2 kind of wraps up, with this dude straddling over her. She's falling down, but she's holding up her dagger that she's holding, on the side of her leathers up to his nutsack. And
so specific.
That's literally what's going on though. And then he decides to let her go, and they move in, and that's how the chapter ends. Is that a cliffhanger or a nut hanger?
Yeah, well, she's told that technically, because he hasn't crossed over, I think she could take him out, but she decides not to.
They're like, it sounds like she's like halfway into it, crossing over. They're like right there, like a foot away.
He hadn't walked off the wall yet.
Yeah.
So he's not a cadet, so she could kill him if she wanted to.
Even on I think their next mission they have to do, they're still allowed to kill each other. They just can't kill each other while they're inside the school, right?
I don't know. You'd have to Google that. I'm
trying
to remember that. I want to say no for some reason, and I want to say that it's because they could get taken out by other things, but they couldn't be taken out by each other because they are within their cadet family. Yeah. I could be totally wrong about that.
Yeah, I think once they do whatever they have to do next, and they're outside of the walls of the school,
maybe
they can still kill each other. Just not. It's like a safety zone when they're in the school.
Maybe. You may be right about that. I'm fine. Okay, be right.
Be right? I will.
Be right.
Thank you. So, chapter 3, we're on to chapter 3, starts off where all the people that you know.
You were about to walk away from chapter 2 without talking about Xaden.
Before she even gets on the wall, Xaden, the guy that her sister said not to, I think the sister and the mother warned her about, was right there. You know, he's leading these people on to what they have to do, right?
Yeah, he's a second year or a third year?
Yeah, second or third year.
Maybe a third year? He is on the wall with her, with two other people. Two other people. One of
their
them
families
is
have
tracking
history
him.
with each other where Violet's parents, I think, pretty much took out his family years ago. That's why they hate each other?
Violet's family took out, because they're like rebels or something. Violet's family took out his parents, but his parents killed Violet's older brother as a rebel.
Yeah.
So it's both sides.
Yeah.
It's both sides, but then he has this like tattoo marker on him that basically is letting you know that he's a child of a rebel.
Yeah. Key parts need to be written down in order.
Should we get the tiny little different colored post-it notes, and you stick them
I
in
don't
here?
want to fill my book with post-it notes.
You can color coordinate them, and then the colors should be for different things. Would the red be for all the saucy jalapeno parts?
Jalapeno parts.
The spices? The spices parts?
Whatever. If this makes the video, then I apologize. It's our first time actually doing a book review, so we're kind of all over the place. We'll get better, though. Stick with us. Or just
Jalapeno
come watch
parts.
her disaster of a book review. Jalapeno.
Jalapeno parts.
Okay, so chapter 3 starts off with all the cadets that are in the courtyard, correct?
Yes.
They're in the courtyard, they're just mingling, everyone's talking, celebrating that they made it across and they survived. She made it back with her friend that she met in chapter 1.
Ryanon?
Ryanon? Yeah, I don't know how to pronounce it either. That's why I didn't say her name. Why I skipped it. I'm like, and she made it back with her friend, they're chit-chatting, and then apparently her childhood friend, Dane, saw her and was very surprised that she was there, and he was not very happy that she was there. Violet explains that her mom made her join, try to be a dragon rider, because that's what her family is known for, right? Everyone in their family has been a dragon rider.
Except for Dad.
Except for Dad was a scribe. The mom was dragon rider, the sister's a dragon rider. They want her to be a dragon rider, even though she's not really built to be a dragon rider.
And she had a childhood illness, which leaves her to not be very healthy.
Okay. I must have missed that one.
Well, yeah,
I zoned out and I was reading, apparently.
I believe it's in chapter 1 where they talk about that, where she had a childhood illness. She spent a lot of time with her dad in the scribe setting and a library and all this stuff. And mom was upset because she probably shouldn't have been, or at least the mom didn't think that she should have been, but that her illness, which makes her muscles and ligaments frail, has led to that. So when she's coming off from chapter 2, she hits her knee and is going into chapter 3. They end up wrapping it. Dane helps her to wrap her knee. That's where she kind of starts talking again about her body not being as healthy.
Since we're talking about chapter 1 again, in my head, I really thought the book was going to go she's going to prove them wrong, that I can be a dragon rider. That's what I thought the storyline was going to be. Not that they were just forcing her to do it.
Oh, okay.
Did you get that? I mean, when you first started reading, that's what I thought. That that was going to be the story. You think I can't do this? I'm going to prove my family wrong. That's how I kind of thought the story was.
Girl power.
Yeah, that's how I thought it was going to go. I threw the book to the side and said, I don't want to read this nonsense. Anyways, it didn't go that way, so she's forced to get in there, and she did pass the first test and made it as a cadet, and her friend Dane finds her. He wants to get her out of there, and she's pretty much saying, even if you get me out of here, my mom's just going to throw me right back in here, right?
Right.
So I'm going to do this
either
way.
But even though she's made it through what I would say the first trial, going over the parapet, and into the courtyard over where the rider's quadrant is. Even though she's made it all that way, he's reminding her, well, yeah, but then there's still these dragons, and the dragons don't pick people that are frail, that aren't tall enough to even climb up onto the dragon and all this stuff, and that these dragons, you know, they have their own minds and are not likely to work well with you.
Yeah.
So that was also
but she gets away from him. But there is the first romancy nonsense. Seems to be with them, in between them, right? Romancy nonsense.
Okay. Yeah. Let's hear your thoughts on the romancy nonsense.
There's a little bit of chemistry with them, right? Like they grew up together, but he's never seemed to make a move on her, and I feel like she kind of wants it. Right?
Okay.
There's some sexual tension there, right?
There's a little bit of would you say chemistry there? Maybe on both sides, or it's just like a one-sided, you know.
There's some tension there, but he's stuck in the friend zone. That's what happened, right? He's stuck in the friend zone. I don't think that's going to be the romancy part of the book. I think it's going to be someone else.
An enemies to lovers
type of deal.
Oh.
That's what I think. She makes it back. She gets away from Dane, right? Gets back. They start dividing up into wings, like pretty much teams, right? There's a leader of every wing that's going to help train the cadets.
Yeah, so there's Dane is the wing leader of the second wing?
Second wing.
And so he says to her friend, to Rhiannon, he tells her before he goes and he takes Violet to go wrap her, and he doesn't want anybody to know about it because he doesn't want anyone to know that she's hurt already. So he tells her, you know, hey, go talk to the person that's, you know, transcribing everybody's names down and have her put you in the second wing. You're going to be in my wing. Then he takes her to wrap her knee. Then he tries to convince her to leave altogether, and he's going to sneak her back into the scribes. And she's like, well, my mom's just going to throw me back out here again. Mm-hmm. And it's going to be even worse for me because I'll have ran and then, you know, be dragged back in. They start calling out the wings. She's called into the second wing with her friends and with Dane, and Dane is trying not to make eye contact. He doesn't want anyone to know that they know each other.
Yeah.
And then Xaden catches her out of the corner of his eye, talks to some of the higher up people, and has her...
A little switcheroo.
Switches her, I think her and Rhiannon. So everybody that was in the second go into the fourth.
That's where the title comes from. They go into the fourth wing. Yeah. With her archenemy.
That guy.
Yeah, so
Xaden.
They're in the fourth together, and then a couple dragons finally come flying up and land in front of the fourth wing group. I think there's 3 or 4. All that matters is there's finally dragons.
They're dragons. They sound cool.
They sound cool. I got excited when they started explaining the dragons. It was really cool. And some people like flip out while they're in line and start running, like they're like regretting their life choices and try to run away. And the dragons just shoot the fire and kill like 2 people right in front of everyone. So then that's when the rest of the people are like, oh.
Yeah, they're not celebrating anymore.
But they're rethinking their life choices. Because they were all celebrating in line, hey, we made it. And then when the dragons...
like, you know, you got this, right? You got this far. This is going to be so great. They're like, yeah. And then...
So a lot of these people grew up wanting to be dragon riders. I don't think they've been right next to a dragon that close and seen it in person, how big and massive they are. And some of them run, and I think they kill about like 2 people. And that's kind of where we left off, is where they're in line and the dragons are killing people. I'm getting excited and we stop. So, like I said already,
the romance is done. The dragons are here. People are dying. I'm ready for this, and then it's gone. You're like 3 chapters, and it was all for nothing.
No. I'm just saying we stopped so we can do this. But I'm gonna say
review rant.
I was always on the fence, and so far I am enjoying the first 3 chapters. It did leave you on that cliffhanger where the dragons come in. I want to read more about dragons, less romance. So I'm hoping there's more dragons and they kill more people moving forward. Yeah. Speaking of dragons, since we showed a dragon in the first video, we got a new dragon. I don't know why his tail is so freaking long, but look at this guy. I got it for Halloween. It's supposed to sit on my shoulder, but there's no way this thing balances. Never mind, I take all of that back. The dragon of the video. Since we showed one last video, that's what I got. She's still reading Are you reading multiple books at once?
So I finished one. I'm halfway through another, and I picked up the third one when I was at the library today.
Yeah, we went.
So I've done Fourth Wing. We're 3 chapters in. I have started this, which did that video already come out? I think that video already came out. So the video already came out where I'm talking about reading the first Crescent City book. I've now finished the first Crescent City book. I am halfway into number 2, and I picked up number 3
at the
library, which I'm excited about. So I like this book. It was more complex to me than her other series are, but I did really enjoy it, especially the last half. And this one's been pretty good, and this one is exciting because it's supposed to blend her 3 worlds together. So I'm excited, but then I think I already got like a half a spoiler on that. So
she also picked this up at the library today.
Yeah, I'm super excited about this one too.
Isn't it 3 books in that series too?
I believe so.
Yeah.
I think it's at least a trilogy. I think it's a trilogy plus 1 novella, if I'm not mistaken. I am super excited about finishing this. My plan is to finish this series and not take on 3 different series at the same time. That might be a little much for me and my brain to comprehend. So my plan is to finish this first, and then I'm going to move on to Daughter of No Worlds. I'm super excited about it because I loved Throne of Glass. It was such a good series, and this is supposed to be a good next jumping off point for people that really enjoyed Throne of Glass. So I'm excited.
All right, so I was reading a second book too. The Slob, if you guys saw that in the previous video. I DNF'd that book. I didn't finish it. I kind of skimmed through that book, and there's just some topics I didn't really want to read about. So I'm going to find another book to read as we're reading this together too. Maybe not. Probably not.
That is totally up to you.
It's like, no, just read that one. So we can do it quicker.
Because the more you get to read it, the more I get to read it. And I'm like super excited. I'm trying not to book pressure you into reading it more. So, I'm not reading ahead. I wait for you to finish a chapter, and then I'm like, yay, now I get to. So yeah, please.
All right. I'll just read this one. Okay. I'll read another 3 chapters. We'll probably pick back up. Maybe do another 3 chapters soon. So make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't watch these book rambles that we like to call book reviews.
Rambles, rants.
Ramble, rants, reviews.
Reviews, yeah. I think that's fair. Ramble, rant, reviews.
Alright, we're done. Alright guys, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss next time we turn the page.